In this recording, we're going to take notes about how youth and adults in our community need a space for educational events and gatherings. And then we're going to take notes about how the AADL meets this need. We're going to start with the article titled, "We Don't Know Our Neighbors Anymore. Here's what that costs us." Until fairly recently, most people in the world grew up, lived out their lives, and died within 10 to 20 miles of where they were born. As a result, people knew their neighbors and had strong communities. However, our world today is different. That might be a fact you want to write. Most people lived within 10 to 20 miles of where they were born. They didn't move. According to a Gallup survey in 2013, 1 in 4 Americans move every 5 years, about 24%. As a result of all the moving, people find themselves living in communities where they may not know their neighbors. I'm going to write that down in my own words. So I'm going to say 2013, you should be writing this. What percent was it? 1 in 4 people move every 5 years. That makes it hard to develop a community if every 5 years you're moving to a new place. In fact, less than 30% of Americans know their neighbors, and less than 20% of Americans spend time with their neighbors. Being less engaged with the people who live around us seems connected to a steady decline in our feelings that people can be trusted in general. In the mid-1980s, about half of us said we trusted others. Now it's 3 in 10. I might write this: 30% of Americans know their neighbors. That's not very many people who know the people they live by. Less than 20% of Americans spend time with their neighbors. Again, that's not a very high percent. Those are both facts I could write here. Not high percentages of people. Oh, and now we don't trust each other. Why? Because we don't know our neighbors. You could write that as well. As individuals, lack of trust in our neighbors must be bad for our physical health. Eileen Avery, a University of Missouri sociologist, found in one study that people who perceive their neighbors as trustworthy also rate their own health as better than people who don't. Other studies have found people who say they are part of a community have lower risks for strokes and heart attacks. Similarly, studies show that 40% of Americans suffer from loneliness, compared to 20% in 2009. Wow. So I'm going to write here 40% of Americans goes lonely. I'm also going to write, if you don't trust your neighbors, are lonely, your risk of a heart attack, stroke, goes up. That definitely tells me that we need a place to build community. What can we do to create communities and relationships with our neighbors in today's world? One solution is the creation of community spaces where all members of the community can mix naturally and get to know each other. Successful community spaces offer different services and attractions to bring people of different backgrounds and interests together. The 4 basic characteristics of a successful community space are: a reason for people to go. There has to be a reason for people to want to stay once they've arrived. People in the space have to feel safe and comfortable. The space has to be welcoming and accessible to everyone. So I might write community spaces. People want to go. People want to stay. people feel safe, and the place is welcoming. These are the things that we need to have a successful community space. There are many different kinds of spaces, both public and private, rural and urban, that can be good places for interaction. Parks, streets, and outdoor markets are all important community spaces. However, in areas with winter weather, indoor gathering spaces such as libraries are especially important to form communities. So I might write, if winter, need inside, because you can't have an outdoor community place if it's really cold. The value of community spaces. So it increases economic vitality, how much money people can make, reduce public expenditure on health care. People are spending less to go to the hospital, urban management, higher property prices. Your house, you earn more for your house when you sell it. Attracted human capital, increased business confidence. It improves your quality of life. It increases your real and perceived security and safety, promotes social equality and stability, cultural vitality, social integration and civic pride, feeling proud of your neighborhood. It reduces pollution, increases ecological diversity, and reduces energy consumption. See if there's one thing here that you've just learned about public spaces that you could add as a reason that we need it in Ann Arbor. Now let's learn about how the AADL provides a community space. Events at the AADL. The Ann Arbor District Library offers a vast range of educational and community events. On an average day, the library offers between 4 and 8 programs a day, with a total of more than 2,000 programs per year. Wow, that's definitely a reason people want to come and a reason people want to stay. I'm going to underline that. Here I'm going to write AADL. AADL, 4 to 8 programs a day, 2,000 a year. That's a lot. For instance, on May 8th, 2018, Irene Butter, a local Holocaust survivor, presented an author event about her new book. The event was attended by over 300 people of all ages and backgrounds. In addition to AADL events, the library also has more than 20 small group meeting rooms and 5 larger spaces that groups can reserve for community events. In 2017, more than 126,406 people attended AADL programs, and 1,835,770 people entered the AADL doors. I'm definitely going to write that here. 126,000 people went to AADL programs. And how many people entered the doors? 1,835,000. That definitely tells me there's a community space. You could also talk about the small rooms that are available, 20 small group rooms that you can rent. You might also talk about the example of Irene Butter, being someone who came to present at the library about her experience in the Holocaust and brought over 300 people. Here's a long list of events that are provided at the library. Art, author events, book discussions, cooking classes, computer classes. Write some here. Some events include, see if you can maybe write 1, 2, or 3 events. And now think about, do those make people want to go? People want to stay? People feel safe? And people feel welcome? By now you should have written about the community need of having a gathering space and about how the AADL fulfills that need.